The Marvel Cinematic Universe is expanding once again, and this time it's heading deep into the heart of Wakanda's hidden past. Set to premiere on Disney Plus this August 6th, Eyes of Wakanda will mark the MCU's 15th television series. But this isn't just another superhero story. It's an animated anthology that dives centuries before the rise of T'Challa, long before he ever donned the mantle of the Black Panther. This is Wakanda as you've never seen it before, untouched, ancient, and raw. Directed by Todd Harris, who previously worked on Black Panther and Wakanda Forever as a storyboard artist, this series promises to reveal a side of Wakanda that has only been whispered about in sacred rituals and royal tombs. Before we plunge into alternate timelines, a heads up. Wakandan multiverse lore is vast. If you're a fan of deep-cut comic references and mind-bending variants, hit that like button and subscribe for more explorations into Wakanda and Black Panther's hidden dimensions. Let's get started. Though fans around the world must wait a little longer for the release of Eyes of Wakanda, the very first episode has already been unveiled at the Annecy International Animation Film Festival 2025. And while Marvel, as always, is guarding most of its secrets, the early premiere offered a glimpse into what's coming. New characters, new timelines, and new corners of the MCU, all centered around Wakanda's past and the warriors who protected it. Eyes of Wakanda begins in ancient Crete. The first episode opens not in Wakanda, but in ancient Crete, 3,000 years ago. From this unexpected starting point, Eyes of Wakanda unfolds across time and continents, tracing how early Wakandans began to harness the power of Vibranium. Through a blend of science and mysticism, they forged weapons, created art, and reshaped their society into something the world was never meant to see. But this is only the beginning. The series uses time jumps to explore different periods in Wakandan history, each segment focusing on a different era and conflict. The goal is to paint a sweeping portrait of Wakanda's evolution, not just politically or technologically, but spiritually and culturally. The first episode, titled Into the Lion's Den, is set in 1260 BC, where we witness an early crisis that hints at the ideological tension that has always simmered beneath Wakanda's borders. It's a world that feels mythic, ancient, and yet strangely familiar. But it's not nostalgia driving the story. At its core, Eyes of Wakanda is about two things: the foundation of the Black Panther legacy and the global hunt for stolen vibranium, an element so powerful, so coveted, that nations would kill to possess even a shard. Eyes of Wakanda had to be an animated series. There's a reason this story couldn't be told in live action. Todd Harris made it clear from the start. Only animation could truly do it justice. As he put it, animation is the ultimate equalizer of locations. It allowed the creators to reimagine history, not as it was, but as it could have been, free of colonial narratives, unbound by Western timelines. The result is a stylized visual experience that blends hand-drawn 2D animation with the depth and dimension of 3D rendering. The show opens with a fully hand-drawn sequence, before transitioning into mostly 3D environments overlaid with subtle 2D effects. This isn't just a stylistic flourish. It's meant to exaggerate character design and reflect the larger-than-life stories being told. These are not tales of ordinary heroes. These are Wakandan legends. Eyes of Wakanda takes inspiration from real history. And though Wakanda may be fictional, the historical inspirations that power Eyes of Wakanda are very real. The series draws deeply from the cultures of the Fertile Crescent, the Mediterranean, and especially North and East Africa. You can see it in the architecture. You can feel it in the garments, the rituals, the language. Even modern global art movements find their way into the design. But this isn't a period drama. It's a globe-trotting epic. And the creators have made it clear. While Wakanda and Crete are only the first stops, the journey will take us to many more corners of the world. Each location holds its own secrets, its own dangers, and each one has, in some way, touched or been touched by Wakanda's reach. The Eyes of Wakanda showrunner has compared it to Star Trek, James Bond, and King Arthur. Another thing that makes this series truly stand out is its hybrid genre approach. Todd Harris has described the show in a way that feels part sci-fi, part espionage, and part myth. He said it's like Star Trek dropped in the middle of Africa. He's called it Wakanda-grade James Bond. And when he compares its tone to King Arthur's Camelot, it makes sense. This is a kingdom on the edge of legend, with a legacy defined not just by technology, but by honor, secrecy, and sacrifice. Harris likens the experience of watching Eyes of Wakanda to visiting Britain during the time of King Arthur, and then suddenly leaping forward to the Industrial Age. The idea is to show how a civilization evolves over centuries while keeping its soul intact. Eyes of Wakanda will introduce brand new characters. But who are the characters anchoring this journey? At the center of the first episode is Noni, voiced by model and actress Winnie Harlow. Noni is a former Dora Milaje, disgraced on the surface, but secretly on a Black Ops mission of great importance to Wakanda. Her task: track down a man who's stolen Wakandan tech and disappeared from the kingdom's radar. That man is known as the Lion, played by Cress Williams. Once a general in Wakanda's ranks, the Lion has broken away, turning rogue. But he's not just a traitor, he's an empire builder. He wants to carve out his own kingdom, forged with stolen vibranium and ruled by his own law. Along the way, he forms a band of pirates, uses his knowledge of Wakandan strategy against his former homeland, and begins to seize towns through brute force and manipulation. Also joining the cast is Steve Toussaint, known for his role as Lord Valerion in House of the Dragon. Here, he plays a hardened, jaded intelligence agent. Jacques Kalaman from Netflix's The Society and Anika Noni Rose, the voice of Tiana from The Princess and the Frog, are also part of the ensemble, though their roles are still a mystery. The Black Panther prequel isn't about T'Challa's ancestors. At first glance, some fans assumed this show would center on the royal lineage of T'Challa, but that's not quite the case. Yes, we will glimpse some of T'Challa's forefathers, but they're not the stars. Instead, Eyes of Wakanda is about the principles on which Wakanda was built. It's about what it means to serve a kingdom that has chosen secrecy over expansion, duty over dominance. It's about how Wakanda resisted the world's temptations and what it cost to remain hidden. Eyes of Black Panther will follow the Hatut Zeraze. One of the key forces driving the plot is a group known as the Hatut Zeraze, Wakanda's elite intelligence unit. Known in the comics as the Dogs of War, and briefly referenced as the War Dogs in the 2018 Black Panther film, these operatives are tasked with recovering stolen artifacts and protecting the kingdom's secrets at all costs. Brad Winderbaum, head of Marvel Television, described them as Wakanda's CIA. But unlike any intelligence unit we've seen before, the Hatut Zeraze operate under intense spiritual and moral pressure. Their mission isn't just espionage, it's devotion. They must walk the line between loyalty and personal conviction as they witness a world that Wakanda has tried for centuries to avoid. Eyes of Wakanda will be a high-stakes spy story and will include pirates. Eyes of Wakanda won't be a dry historical retelling. The series is being framed as a high-stakes spy thriller with all the intensity of Marvel's best action sequences. If you loved the casino fight or the car chase from Black Panther, this show may bring back that energy in a new form. Noni's pursuit of the Lion feels less like a noble quest and more like a ticking time bomb operation. The Lion's pirates have already begun seizing territory, and worse, they seem willing to escalate. Towns have fallen, innocents have been captured, and no one knows what he'll do next. Iron Fist will appear in Eyes of Wakanda. The biggest surprise of all is the confirmed appearance of Iron Fist, not the one fans know, not Danny Rand. During a Q&A session, Todd Harris teased that there will be an Iron Fist in Eyes of Wakanda, but not the Iron Fist you expect. This opens the door to entirely new interpretations of the mystical power. It could be a version inspired by Lin Lai, or perhaps an original creation tied to Wakanda's global journeys. Whatever the case, it's a bold move that could refresh the Iron Fist legacy, which has been rocky in the past. In the end, Eyes of Wakanda is more than a prequel. It's a cultural reimagining, a historical tapestry, and a powerful meditation on legacy, isolation, and what it means to be worthy, not just of power, but of purpose. With its lush animation, globe-spanning scope, and rich cast of characters, this series could very well become one of the MCU's most unique entries to date. Wakanda's eyes are open now, and what they see, what we will see, may change everything. Let me know in the comments, what are you most excited to see in Eyes of Wakanda? If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives into the Marvel Universe. Until next time, Wakanda forever.